Hey guys, welcome back to So You Want to Live in Bahia. Today I want to go over the process more or less from start to finish on how it is to buy property in Brazil. Stay tuned. Welcome to the new monthly version of So You Want to Live in Bahia. And today this is I can't believe I hadn't thought about this topic beforehand. Thanks to William, shout out to William for the idea. But it's to outline the process of what it is to buy property here in Brazil. And I've narrowed it down to 10 different steps. So let's get started. Step number 1, super important, the most important step, besides having the money to buy property here, the most important step is that you have a CPF number. Now, I made a video on this and I'm gonna link it down below. You gotta check that video out because you need a CPF. Without it, you cannot buy property here. And it's much easier now to get one, so check out that video and get your CPF. All right, step 2 is the offer. You found some property you like and you wanna make an offer. Exciting. And you know what? It's so chill. It's basically me texting the other person, hey, will the owner accept this? Say that to the owner, say it to the other agent, boom. They accept it or they don't. It's very simple. There's no formalities involved. There's no paperwork or anything officially written. It's just usually a text message. And that's always how I've done it. I've never seen anyone else do it in the sort of official way that you find in the US. Now, maybe for super high end, you have that, but I have not. I've yet to see that. So, number 3, offer accepted. Next up is the contract, and this is very important. And sometimes this phase can take a while, especially if you have a lawyer involved, which you may or may not want to have depending on how comfortable you feel with doing a transaction like this in another country. If you're a little bit nervous, I would recommend one. If not, it's usually not a problem at all, and this can be resolved with just real estate agents. So it's up to you. But you have number 3, the contract. And the reason why there could be a little bit of back and forth, like, oh, maybe one side doesn't like some of the terms, the other side doesn't. Every sale is different. Usually in the contract, you'll be paying anywhere from 10 to 20% of the value, the amount agreed upon, as a deposit. And this can vary, and sometimes they might ask for more money because they have to pay off debts that are associated with the property. So in order to get the property ready to sell, they have to get rid of those debts. So this is all part of a negotiation phase, the contract. The next 4 steps kind of all happening at the same time. Now, you don't live in Brazil, you gotta bring your money here. So number 4, researching how you're gonna bring your money over. MoneyGram, Remitly, and Wise are 3 different sites I can recommend. So check it out and see which gives the best rates, which one you're more comfortable with, because you're gonna need that to send to the owner personally the money. We don't have escrow agencies here. So when you send your money, you send it directly to the owner of the apartment. Just a fun fact. One of the many ways real estate is different here than it is in the US. All right, number 5, while you are researching how you're gonna bring your money over, I think you should really sign up for e-notariado. Now this site has changed everything. It used to be that you had to be here in person to do a lot of these things. Now you don't have to. You can do it online. You can do it through video chat. So on e-notariado, you're gonna register yourself at a cartório. And then when the time comes to have the paperwork for the deed or any sort of public procuração, power of attorney, it gets done through e-notariado. So on the day of signing the deed, you do not have to be here. You can do that via video chat. But asterisk, the exception would be if your Portuguese is not very good, I would probably suggest you use e-notariado to make somebody like your real estate agent the power of attorney for the sale so that they can sign this on your behalf. And you can have a procuração written that's very specific just for the sale, so they don't have a carte blanche power of attorney for you. And that would be another good way to do it if you were not comfortable with your Portuguese. All right, number 6, certificates, and this could sometimes take a while. It's really the space in between the contract Signing the contract and signing the deed is about getting all your certificates in order. Now, one thing you don't have to worry about, because I know some people get nervous about it, is like, well, what if the property has a lot of debt? What if this? What if that? The deed won't happen if that's the case, because the cartório is going to ask for all these different certificates from the sellers to make sure that everything's in good standing, that they don't owe money anywhere, that they don't have bills out, that they don't owe any mortgage or anything on their property. Not only that, but if they have debts to other people, that needs to be resolved before the sale can go through. So you will be protected. There's no way, if everyone's doing their job correctly, that there should be any problems with the property, because all of the certificates are in place. Now for you, you're gonna need certificates as well. Now, one thing that they're gonna want everything translated juramentado, which means it's an official translation, and you can go online to find places that do this. And then also you'll need some of your documents apostilled, which is basically a international notary. And what they really want to see, they want to see your driver's license or your passport. They want to see identification, your CPF card. They want to see proof of address. They want to know your profession, but you don't need to prove that to them. And they're going to want to see your birth certificate, because in Brazil, when you get married, it's written on your birth certificate. So you giving them a birth certificate is you telling them, like, look, I'm married. I'm not married. There's nothing on this birth certificate. Now, that's your way of proving you're single. Now, if you are married, that's when things can get a little bit trickier, because they really, here in Brazil, when you're married, you have to decide your prenup. You have to decide how things will be divided. And they want to see that. You can't just, depending on the cartório and depending on the state, maybe you can tell them, oh, this is how we are splitting, this is how everything is split in our marriage, 50-50, everything we buy when we're married gets split 50-50, or nothing gets split. They're gonna wanna see that. And if you don't have it, it could cause some problems. And so you have to get creative with that and come up with some sort of document showing, oh no, look, this is our official thing that we both signed, that's been notarized, saying that this is how things are split up in the event of a divorce, a prenup or a postnup. And that's not as hard as you think it would be. You can find drafts for that online for free. But it's some of the paperwork you need. This is not legal advice, but if you and your significant other are married, you could just be joint owners on the property and you don't mention that you're married. Did I say that out loud? All right, let's go on to the next step. Now, step number 7, which is happening at the same time as 4, 5, and 6, is that you have to pay the deposit, the sinal of 10 to 20%, right? And that's cool, it's exciting. The ball is rolling. Now, we're almost towards the finish line. We've done all those steps. Now, number 8. While you're waiting on all the certificates, on both sides, although the seller side, there's more certificates. While you're waiting on that, you have to, before the deed signing, you have to pay some taxes. There are closing costs. Now, I'm gonna show you, this was a tabella, like a spreadsheet for Salvador. I think maybe for all of Bahia, actually. No, it's for all of Bahia, and it's for this year. So in 2024, I think sometime in January, the prices go up. So this is for this year, current only now, for this year. This is the tabella for Dagis. And you'll see, like, if the property is in between this amount and that amount, then this is how much you pay for the Dagi. There's 2 Dagis that you're gonna pay. You're gonna pay one for the cartório, where you sign the escritura, where that is done. And then you'll pay another Dagi after the escritura to register it. So that's why you pay 2 of those. Now, on top of all that, those are just costs to the cartórios. You have to pay in taxes, you have to pay an ITIV tax. That's what it's called here in Bahia. And that is 3% of the amount. that is the purchase price, or whatever on the deed. Because if the valor venal is higher, then you actually have to pay the higher, you have to pay the 3% ITIV on the valor venal, not your purchase price. Now the other way around, if the valor venal happens to be lower than what you're paying, then sometimes there's a negotiation that happens there as well on what value is on the escritura. All right, and then of the taxes you pay this DAGI, you pay the laudemio, and so for the taxes you pay the DAGI, the ITIV, and then possibly a laudemio, and that's a hot mess. Ask your agent for more info, because there's two different kinds. There's one for the marina, and then there's one for the church here in town, Mosteiro São Bento. I know that Bolsonaro was trying to get rid of laudemio, but then he's not president anymore, so I guess that's probably not going to happen. And so you don't know, only look at the escritura can you tell if it has a laudemio, if the church owns the property, and then you have to figure it out. I went to check out a laudemio today, and the guy at the church was like, told us what the price would be, and then said, okay, for you I could do it a little bit lower. So it's wild. You could even negotiate that if it seems too high. The laudemio used to be really high. It used to be based on the sales price, but now for the marina is based on the value of the land, which is great, because I don't think that they deserve extra money because you made your apartment nice and it sold for more money, right? Can I get a witness? Step 9, escritura. And then step 10 is registering your escritura. So the second cartório is going to look over all your paperwork, make sure that they have everything they need, and that's when you pay that second DAGI. You also pay a prenotação, a pre-note tax, which is usually less than 100 reais. Barely worth mentioning. Did you hear that? So anyways, the prenotação, barely worth mentioning, not that expensive. But that's it. That is the process. How long does it take from making an offer and doing the escritura? That could, if everyone's really on it, that could take maybe a month. It could really go quickly, you know? Often it does not go that quickly, but if everyone was in a hurry, it could theoretically go that quickly. I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. And of course, if you're interested in doing this process with moi, I'm here to help you find your perfect apartment in Salvador. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next month. Beijo!